welcome and thank you for your attendance this AFC ACL Elite Matchday 8 pre-match press conference. Obviously got Melbourne City versus Gangwon FC. So here from Melbourne City, head coach Aurelio, Vidmar and captain Aziz Behich. Start with you, Aurelio. Just first off, congratulations on securing qualification on Matchday 7. Just how were the emotions and the feelings securing qualification? A historic moment for the club, first knockout qualification.
Yeah, it was a great moment, as you said, a historic moment for the club. It's extremely proud for the players and also the club. It's been a bit of a tough journey, a tough period. The competition is extremely tough. I think at the beginning of the campaign we said if we can get 3 wins, would sort of give us a reasonable chance to qualify. And as it turned out, the competition was a lot tighter than it was last year. And now we've managed 4 wins, so it's been a huge effort from the playing squad. So we're really pleased, and we put ourselves in a good position now.
And is it for yourself as captain of the club, someone who's been connected with the club for a long time and had 2 spells and sort of witnessed different eras, different teams with the club? What did that mean to you to captain the side to that historic moment, and you hearing the final whistle and getting that result? What did that mean to you?
Yeah, like Vinny said, it was a proud moment. Obviously, us as footballers individually, that's something we spoke about, putting our names in history at the football club, but also for the club. First time to reach the round of 16, it's a big achievement, that's for sure. Like Vinny said as well, it's a tough competition. So many great teams in this competition. So look, our goal was to get out of the group. We've done that, but we've still got 1 game left, and we want to finish as high as possible.
And open it up.
Vinny, I guess, how do you manage selection and the squad in tomorrow's game? Because there's a huge Melbourne derby on Saturday as well. As you said, you've already progressed, you're locked in, can't fall lower than 5th. How do you manage the squad and manage fatigue in tomorrow's night's game with an eye on Saturday?
Yeah, look, the best we can, to be honest. The ones who are suffering a little bit more will have a rest tomorrow and try to freshen them up for Saturday. We don't have every position covered, so that's an issue, and that's been an ongoing issue throughout the whole season. So we'll do the best we can. Some are not going to feel 100% tomorrow night. It's been a bit of a tough travel since the All-Star game, but to be honest, we've actually thrived in these moments when we've had little rest and have had to back up. We've done that in this competition very, very well. So again, I'm looking for a strong performance again tomorrow night. Probably, you don't know, we're probably not going to be at our 100% level, but we put out a team that's going out there to try to perform and try to win, because we still want to try to win this game.
You talk about adversity there, and one thing you've often discussed this season has been the character of the group and wanting to see that. You look throughout this AFC Champions League, you've made a habit, you did it last week, of winning games late, of not dropping your heads and finding the late goals you need. Has your play in Asia sort of exemplified the character you want to see from the group?
Yeah, look, we've been a little bit indifferent in terms of form in the A-League and this competition as well, but we seem to grow another leg in this competition, and that's what we've done. Our aim now is trying to win tomorrow night, get as high as we can in the group, and then see wherever our round 16 takes us. And then when our focus turns on Saturday, the derby and the remaining games in the A-League, we have to bring this sort of ACL elite mentality into the A-League, because to be honest, that's the little piece that's missing.
Aziz, how valuable has, I guess, these away days in Asia been for bringing the group together? Adversity brings people together. We saw you all out for Korean barbecue last week, the photos on social media. Just how much of a valuable has the bonding experience been of these away days in Asia?
Yeah, look, as a footballer, the long trips are obviously the ones you enjoy the most. You spend a lot of time together. Obviously we're together every day regardless at the football club. So, no, but, we have a lot of new faces as well, especially, a few new ones in the last transfer window. So these away trips, I think, came at a good time, brings everyone together. The new boys can integrate themselves into the group, which they have. And, and obviously when you get the result, it makes the away trips a lot easier. Like Viddy said, it was a difficult trip to get back here after the game, but when you get all 3 points and that feeling after the game, it makes everything all worth it.
As Viddy said, you talked about the players growing another leg in this competition. When you're on the pitch and you're seeing that, how does that manifest on the pitch? What are you noticing from your teammates when they are producing these efforts to win games late?
Yeah, look, I think it's just confidence and just believing that we can do it. So I think when you've done it a few times and, obviously, like I said before, it's a tough competition. You're coming up against, the best teams in Asia. Obviously, they spend a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's a football match. You need to have the right mentality, and I think that's what we've had in this competition. Right from the beginning, even the games we've lost, we always make it difficult for the opponent, and it's going to be no different tomorrow and round of 16 as well.
Viddy, you mentioned some of the players that are maybe suffering not playing tomorrow. Is any of that suffering actual injuries, or is it more just managing them?
No, it's just fatigue. We've got a broad range of demographics in terms of 18, 19, 20-year-olds and 30-plus-year-olds. And in my experiences, the real young ones and the older ones are the ones that you always have to probably manage the most. And we have some of the younger ones that have had a fair bit of football in the last periods. So we have to be smart about how we manage those. But touch wood, everyone's come back from Ulsan in pretty good shape. And then on the plus side, guys like Elba and Leckie, they've started doing some modified training with the group as well. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, they're able to excel their training and join the squad.
Really, obviously now you've led City to its first ever knockout stage in the ACL Elite. It's a competition you've had a lot of success with, but Adelaide back in the day as well. What is it about Asia's highest level that brings the best out of you as a coach?
I don't know. I just love the competition. We've loved it from I think the first time we played in 2008. Had some really great special nights, especially a lot of them the year that we got into the final. I know it's just a different type of game. It's probably a touch slower, a little bit more tactical, certainly a lot more technical. There's less transition moments, and I think the A-League gives you a hell of a lot of transition moments. So it's a little bit more of a controlled tempo. Probably suits us a little bit more.
And Aziz, you've experienced not only with City but also in Riyadh as well. What is it about the ACL that you think brings the best out of your boys?
Yeah, look, I think it's the opportunity. It's difficult to get there. You obviously got to finish top in our league to have the opportunity to be a part of it. So I think it's just the opportunity and knowing you might not be there next year. So and that's something we spoke about at the start of the season as a playing group, is we want to make an impact. We're not there to make up numbers. We're there to challenge, and we've ticked one box, which was to get out of the group stage. But like Viddy said, in football you don't know how far you can go, so we just need keep this right mentality, and obviously we need to go to another level once the round of 16 starts.
Look at Viddy, you talk about wanting to get the wins. How far advanced in this competition actually have you envisioned or talked about as a group? Because as you mentioned, the amount of money some of these clubs spend, but we saw Kawasaki reaching the final last year, knocking over some much freer spending sides in the process. Do you use that as inspiration and talk about going all the way?
Well, I think we've taken one step, and that's reaching the round of 16. I think once we know our opponents, we can start talking about what's going to happen next. And obviously, it's a two-legged round of 16 game, and you don't know. We have a rough idea who we can potentially draw, and then we'll just have to take that game by game. So I keep saying it, in sport, you just don't know where things can take you, where things can lead you. But when you have the right spirit, the right mood, the right mentality, it can take you a long way. So we're happy, we're pleased where we are today, but that for me can't be. We've had a small chat about that. We can't be just pull up the handbrake now and then. We're satisfied where we are, because that's never enough. Great that we got an opportunity to get to a round of 16. We still got to do a job tomorrow night, and then focus on what's going to happen in the round of 16, and not be satisfied by just being in the round of 16. Try to think a little more broad in terms of where potentially we can go. But we know, after tomorrow night, the next round is going to be extremely tough, and then after that, you don't know what's going to happen.
Marcus Eunice goal and assist last week. He's been amongst the goal involvements ever since he arrived. But how happy are you with the way that he's rapidly integrated into the team and what he's bringing?
Yeah, it's amazing. To come in such a short space of time and make a massive impact like he has. A true testament of the person he is, and the ambition that he has. And he showed that from his first appearances off the bench 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he's just continued to take another step forward, another leap forward every time he goes onto the pitch. And to make his debut in Champions League last week in a very tricky place, to have a great assist for Maxi's goal, and then I was even thinking just a little bit earlier, because we know where he's been in terms of it's been quite over a few months since he's actually played a game, and he's missed a fair bit of training. And for him to make that impact, I was ready to take him off just to give him a bit of a breather. But he looked like he was travelling well, and probably we're a little bit fortunate there that I didn't pull the trigger on him, because he was in the right place at the right moment, and took his goal very well. So he's so focused. He wants to play football. He wants to do well. To me, he seems like, and Aziz can probably attest to this as well, it looks like he's been here for years, the way he's integrated himself inside the group. So that sometimes takes a special person to do that.
I guess we also got devastating news this morning that Lewis Miller has done his Achilles and will miss the World Cup as a result. And that's led to talk about who plays right back for the Socceroos. You've got a Socceroo at right back yourselves in Nate Atkinson. What have you made of Nate this season, Biddy? Do you think he's capable of stepping up for the national team if called upon?
Yeah, absolutely. He started slowly, to be honest, but he did have some lingering issues from last season, with his groin and OP for quite a bit through that early stages of the season. But I think his last 4 or 5 weeks has been very, very good. So if he continues in that form, he puts himself in the shop window for sure.
As he's someone who knows what's required both on and off the field to play for the Socceroos, have you seen that from Nate this season, particularly since he shed those injuries?
Yeah, definitely. Like Viddy said, especially I think the last month, he's been one of our most important players, and obviously he's been a part of the national team, so he knows what's required, and he's not a young player anymore. So, but you can see the quality Nate has, and we're lucky to obviously have him in our squad. But like Viddy said, if he continues like this, he puts himself in a really good position to get selected.